Just by staring at the woman for a few moments, this man was already captivated. He begins to shift his binoculars, carefully sizing up the woman before him. She is exactly the ideal type he has never seen before, and just quietly watching her makes him unconsciously fall for her. Suddenly, a stranger's hand touches the person he desires, and the man instantly panics. A masked man had made the first move before him, and this was something he absolutely could not tolerate. He raises his binoculars, fixing that man firmly in his memory. The woman's name is Perfidia, a member of the Guizot revolutionary group known as French 75. She has been observing from the bridge for several days, as the more than 200 detained immigrants under the bridge are the target of this operation. On the highway along the US-Mexico border, the members gather together to discuss the plan. Bob walks over, dragging a case of explosives. Perfidia steps forward on her own initiative to ask Bob what he has brought. Bob bluntly states that he has all kinds of weapons, but he does not know exactly what needs to be done. Perfidia declares that this operation is the announcement of the revolution's beginning, so it must be done beautifully.
Okay, this is an announcement of the revolution. Make it good, make it bright. Impress me.
This is their first meeting. As night falls, Bob comes to the foot of the border wall, looking for a spot to place the explosives. Under the cover of darkness, the other members carefully sneak towards the immigrant detention center. The guards at the center never expected anyone to attack this place, so the defense is extremely lax. The organization members infiltrate easily, splitting into 3 groups. One team takes control of the soldiers' rest area. One team searches for the trapped immigrants. Meanwhile, Perfidia finds Captain Stephen J. Lockjaw all by herself.
My name is Perfidia Beverly Hills, and this is a declaration of war. We're here to right your wrongs,
Perfidia announces her name without hesitation. Listening to her declaration, Lockjaw not only shows no nervousness but laughs disdainfully. Seeing that Lockjaw is somewhat interesting, Perfidia feels playful and decides to tease him a bit.
Since we playing, get it up.
Only then did Lockjaw realize that Perfidia was teasing him. Perfidia makes Lockjaw walk while maintaining his posture, escorting him all the way into the nearby wire fence. And it is precisely from this moment that Lockjaw becomes obsessed with this woman. On the other side, the members transfer the immigrants onto large trucks. After receiving the signal, Bob detonates the explosives. Rather than calling it an explosive, it was more like fireworks meant to celebrate their official declaration of war against the authorities.
You are a political prisoner of the French 75, mother. You've been by the French 75. Bitch, where it goes.
This action of Bob's thoroughly ignites Perfidia's passion, and they embrace passionately as soon as they get in the car. From then on, they live together. Bob does not just make fireworks, he is the only bomb expert in the organization. Soon, Perfidia calls the senator's home, directly informing him that they have placed a bomb in his campaign office. If he does not give up on issuing the abortion ban, this will be their fate. Subsequently, the sound of an explosion rings out. Perfidia firmly believes that revolutionary violence is the only way out, and that voting is simply a scam. Immediately after, an explosion occurs at the West Bank Bank. Then they blow up the city's central power tower. In short, they are creating endless chaos. During one of the operations, Captain Lockjaw spots Perfidia. Although he discovers that his beloved already belongs to another, Lockjaw does not act rashly. In the blink of an eye, Bob changes into a suit. The French 75 organization is preparing to create chaos in this office building. Meanwhile, Bob and Perfidia are completely enjoying it, flirting with each other at every moment. Just as Perfidia is placing explosives on the ceiling, an accident suddenly occurs. Perfidia turns her head cautiously, and upon seeing it is Captain Lockjaw, she actually breathes a sigh of relief and asks him what he wants. Lockjaw said she could blow up whatever she wanted because he did not care, as long as she showed up at the Lily Hotel at 11 that night. Perfidia looked at Lockjaw and silently agreed. She runs into Bob as soon as she walks out the door. Bob pats his lover just like usual. Perfidia responds gently, but her smile vanishes immediately, and ripples of emotion stir in her heart. At night, Perfidia arrives at the agreed-upon motel, holding the pistol she previously snatched from Lockjaw. Perfidia also resolves this crisis. Time flew by, and soon Perfidia was about to give birth, yet she was still firing a machine gun without restraint. Just as Bob says later, it seems she has absolutely no realization that she is pregnant. Soon, Perfidia's daughter Charlene is born. But after having a child, the happiness they should have felt instead turned into confusion. Looking at Bob holding the child, Perfidia changes into a new outfit, deciding to leave this home and continue the revolution. Because she has always believed that she will not live for others, and even more so, she does not want to be bound by anyone.
Would you stop it? We're a goddamn family. You have her to take care of. Where the hell do you think you're going?
This is a new consciousness.
New consciousness?
Yeah. I'm not your other buddy.
Do the revolution, baby. Go do it.
Even the baby's crying fails to soften Perfidia's heart, so Bob stops blocking her and lets Perfidia continue on her revolutionary path. Without breast milk, Bob has to find other ways to raise the child, so he comes to the supermarket alone to pick out baby bottles. Just then, Lockjaw walks silently up behind him and asks if he has a child. Bob is completely off guard at that moment and tells him his daughter Charlene's name.
You like black girls? I love them. I love them.
But when Bob carefully examines this stranger before him, his originally calm mood instantly turns into panic. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Perfidia is leading her sisters as they swagger into a bank. They need to rob enough cash to purchase the weapons and equipment required by the organization. The operation was supposed to go smoothly. But while Perfidia is controlling the scene, a police officer suddenly resists and completely refuses to cooperate with commands. In a moment of desperation, Perfidia is forced to pull the trigger, killing him on the spot. The instant the gunshot rings out, the scene immediately descends into chaos. Realizing the situation is out of control, the organization members flee in panic one after another. They quickly dive into the getaway vehicle prepared in advance. Siren sounds echo through the streets, and a heart-stopping chase begins. After a fierce contest with the police, the getaway car eventually crashes into other vehicles and completely loses power, leaving them no choice but to abandon the car and flee on foot. But it is too late, and after sprinting several hundred meters down the highway, Perfidia finally falls into the hands of the police. Perfidia's capture significantly boosts the morale of the police force. A few days later, Lockjaw visits Perfidia in the hospital and tells her that she will be sentenced to at least 30 to 40 years in prison for killing someone. Fear and despair instantly engulf Perfidia. Faced with a long prison sentence, she can only pin her last hope on Lockjaw, and the price is betraying the information of all members of the organization. Just like that, Perfidia becomes a traitor and enters the Witness Protection Program, being placed in one of Lockjaw's private villas. Based on the intelligence provided by Perfidia, Lockjaw quickly deploys forces to launch an arrest operation. This operation is immensely powerful, dealing a heavy blow to the French 75 organization, with most members being arrested or killed. A few survivors who were lucky enough to get the news are forced underground, vanishing without a trace from then on. Captain Lockjaw is awarded a Medal of Honor by the authorities for his meritorious service in the operation. In a great mood, he buys a bouquet of flowers and returns to the private villa humming a tune, ready to comfort his prize. He knocks lightly on the door a few times, only to find it locked from the inside. Lockjaw quickly walks back to his car, takes out a battering ram, and smashes the door open directly. The room is empty, and Perfidia has long since vanished without a trace. There is only a brief farewell letter left on the glass. Perfidia secretly sneaks into a mall and steals several pieces of clothing. After disguising herself, she slips across the Mexican border and is never heard from again. Meanwhile, in order to evade capture and protect his daughter, Bob changes their names and takes Charlene on a wandering life as fugitives. They constantly change identities, moving from one small town to another, carefully hiding their past. In a flash, 16 years pass. Bob brings the now adult Charlene to finally settle down in the sanctuary city of Bactan Cross. Charlene learns martial arts from Sergio, a local karate teacher and community leader. This teacher not only teaches her fighting techniques, but acts more like her spiritual mentor. As for Bob at this time, he is no longer the high-spirited bomb expert he was back then. Perfidia's abandonment is like a sharp knife, leaving him with a wound that can never heal. To numb himself, he slowly became dependent on illegal substances and spent his days in a daze. Every time school teachers call him in to talk about Charlene skipping class or fighting, Bob always tearfully recounts his daughter's miserable childhood. Motherless, wandering, and homeless. These real hardships soften the teachers' hearts, and they eventually have to sigh and give up on holding her accountable. Meanwhile, at a distant military base, Captain Lockjaw receives news he has been dreaming of. A soldier handed him an order from the deputy director of the Progress Bureau, and it was an invitation. Lockjaw takes a private car to the most luxurious hotel in the city. Even though he is used to seeing big scenes, he cannot help but feel nervous at this moment. After entering the elevator, he hurriedly pulls out a small comb he keeps close, carefully grooming his hair, adjusting even the angle of the strands to perfection. Inside the presidential suite, two figures with powerful auras walk in. They are both high-level executives of the secret society Christmas Adventurers Club. This is the exclusive circle Lockjaw has been dreaming of joining. Gaining entry to this society means supreme power, as well as privileges and pleasures that ordinary people could never imagine. However, the threshold for entering this society is staggeringly high. Lockjaw only barely secured this interview opportunity due to his outstanding performance in previous anti-immigrant operations at the border. But before he can formally join, a strict and in-depth investigation into his background must be conducted. One key question cut straight to the core.
An interracial relationship?
No, sir.
And you are American born by Gentile?
Yes, sir.
Lockjaw answers decisively with an unwavering gaze, not allowing them to spot a single flaw. The entire conversation proceeds very smoothly. But to formally join the club, he still needs to pass a more in-depth background assessment. After leaving the presidential suite, Lockjaw takes a deep breath. He knows well that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and there must be absolutely no slip-ups in the background check. And his biggest crisis is that entanglement with Perfidia from years ago. More critically, could that girl named Charlene be his biological daughter? This question must be cleared up, otherwise once it is discovered, his future will be ruined in an instant. But so many years have passed, and the French 75 organization has long since vanished with members scattered everywhere, so Lockjaw can only start tracking from scratch. Soon, Somerville, who works at an underground radio station, enters his sights. This person was once a liaison for the French 75 organization. Lockjaw secretly hires a native bounty hunter named Avanti to execute a covert capture mission. Avanti moves quickly and soon locks onto Somerville's hiding place. He directly puts a hood over Somerville's head and drags him into the car. But just as his car drives away, two children hiding in the dark watching immediately spring into action. They rush into the broadcasting room, tune the channel, and send a warning to all shelters in code. Billy Goat has been kidnapped, prompting all shelters to immediately execute the flash blast plan. The emergency signal spreads rapidly through the underground network. Subsequently, Avanti secretly escorts Somerville to the maximum security Rio Duarte military camp. Lockjaw's adjutant conducts an interrogation of Somerville. In fact, Somerville had long been prepared to die, and in the face of torture and threats, he actually cracks jokes with ease. It is not until Adjutant Danvers threatens him with his sister that Somerville's defenses instantly collapse, and he has no choice but to reveal Bob and Charlene's hiding place, Backtan Cross. Lockjaw quickly learns of this news. However, to use the military to arrest civilians, there must be a legitimate reason, and contraband is the perfect excuse. Lockjaw immediately convenes a secret military meeting and names this operation Operation Boot Heel. He says that Backtan Cross is a foul-smelling hotbed of sin, and the mission execution must be fast, accurate, and ruthless. There are two targets, the adult male, Bob, and the 16-year-old girl, Charlene. The man can be killed on the spot, but the girl must be captured alive. Then, Lockjaw shoulders his gear, picks up a black suitcase, and sets off with great strides. On this day, Charlene is playing with the dog in the yard when she suddenly hears a roaring sound from above. She looks up and sees an armed helicopter hovering at low altitude. Sitting inside the house, Bob also looks in the direction of the sound, his brow furrowing slightly. Although the appearance of the armed helicopter is somewhat unexpected, he does not pay it too much mind. However, Danvers on the aircraft has already received intelligence that Charlene is attending the school dance at 6 o'clock tonight. He immediately issues orders to split into two groups, one to go to the dance venue to capture the target, and one to raid Bob's residence. Since this was a public operation, they had to make it look legitimate. On the surface, they hold a press conference claiming the main mission is to raid a frozen fried chicken farm to destroy the contraband network in the operational area. At the same time, local law enforcement also cooperates with the operation to take control of several other key locations. The commanders reminded them that Backtan Cross was a sanctuary city full of thousands of Mexican immigrants who might help suspects escape, so everyone had to stay alert. At this moment, Bob is still at home bickering with Charlene over the years. Bob has been overly protective of Charlene for fear she might encounter any danger, which has caused the adolescent Charlene to develop a serious rebellious streak. And the current Bob sometimes experiences memory confusion, unable to remember many things from the past clearly. Just then, a horn sounds outside. It is Charlene's friend coming to pick her up for the dance. Extremely worried, Bob hurriedly stuffs an old pager into Charlene's hand, repeatedly instructing her that she must take it with her. This pager is more like a beacon. As long as they are within a certain distance, it will emit a signal. This was given to him by an organization member when he left home over a decade ago, with the purpose of allowing members to find each other using the signal. To protect Charlene from being tracked, Bob strictly forbids her from using a mobile phone. At school, while Charlene is in the restroom, the pager suddenly starts ringing. She looks up, and a strange woman appears. The woman gestures calmly with her hands and speaks a code phrase. Charlene freezes as her father said that if anyone spoke this code phrase to her, she could trust them unconditionally. This woman, calling herself Deandra, whispers to her that there is danger now and she must leave here immediately. Following her father's teachings, Charlene quickly follows Deandra out of the classroom. They quickly run through the hallway, rush out the back door, and get into a van waiting outside. Just a second after they drive away from the school, a large group of fully armed police rushes into the dance venue. Meanwhile, back at home, Bob receives a call from a stranger. The person on the other end speaks urgently, demanding he provide the organization's code before continuing the call.
Well, I don't remember the greeting code because I got a little bit high.
Bob was completely confused, and he had just taken some substances, so his mind was already unclear. And, after so many years had passed, being suddenly asked to recite the organization's code was something he truly could not remember. Racking his brain, he finally manages to spit out a few keywords. Only then does the caller breathe a sigh of relief, telling him that something happened at the school, but Charlene has already been picked up by Deandra, who is from the organization, so there is no need to worry. Additionally, Billy Goat from the organization has been captured, and Lockjaw has declared war on the organization again, so he must be careful. Bob's heart pounds wildly as he hurriedly asks where his daughter is, but the caller just says, "At the old place," before hanging up. Bob freezes. Where is the old place? He sits on the sofa thinking hard, but he absolutely cannot remember. He hurriedly grabs the signal device on the table, thinking that maybe this will be of some use. The next second, the front door is bashed open with a loud bang, and several fully armed soldiers rush into the house. They are on high alert, searching every corner carefully, yet they find nothing. At this moment, Lockjaw walks in. He walks straight to the photo wall, takes down a childhood photo of Charlene, sniffs it deeply against his nose, and then casually shoves it into his pocket. A soldier discovers an underground tunnel in the back room. Knowing Bob is a bomb expert, they do not dare to act rashly. Lockjaw picks up a tear gas canister, throws it in, and quickly covers the lid. Inside the tunnel, Bob hears the hissing sound of the gas landing and panics immediately. Shouting "No!" he crawls anxiously toward the exit. Fortunately, he reaches the exit in time, as he would have been overcome by the gas had he been just a few seconds later. Having escaped, Bob dares not delay. He rushes into the restroom and turns the faucet on full blast to rinse his eyes. He pushes open the back door, blends into a nearby supermarket, grabs a pair of sunglasses off the rack to put on, and walks out the front door as if nothing happened. He finds a payphone and dials the organization's contact number, but the other party still demands the code. In desperation, Bob directly states his code name, Rocket Man. But the other party insists on the code, hanging up immediately without it. Bob curses helplessly a few times. Siren sounds are everywhere, and with the cooperation of local police, multiple smuggling dens are being raided. Bob weaves through the streets and alleys with great caution. With nowhere else to go, he has no choice but to go to the karate dojo and seek help from Sergio. Sergio does not say a word and takes Bob directly to his secret stronghold. During the drive, Sergio cannot help but ask Bob why he does not just call Charlene. Bob states that Charlene does not have a mobile phone, because it would be tracked. Sergio glances at him and tells him that all of Charlene's classmates know her phone number. Bob freezes, realizing that he is the only one who has been kept in the dark. When Sergio takes out his phone to dial, Bob stops him again. Bob insists that other people's phones are unsafe and will be tracked, and that only his phone is safe, but his phone is currently out of battery. After arriving at Sergio's turf, Bob looks for a charging outlet like a madman. Sergio realizes this place is no longer safe, so he hurriedly orders his men to evacuate the refugees hiding upstairs. Once in the bedroom, Bob finally gets his phone charging, Unable to remember the code, he is driven to distraction by the organization's customer service. Meanwhile, Charlene's phone has been thrown to the roadside by Deandra for safety reasons. Later, Bob has a sudden epiphany and remembers Project Eagle Down, which is the organization's emergency contact protocol. He initiates the plan and finally contacts the customer services superior, who turns out to be an old comrade he has not seen in years. After confirming his identity, he finally learns that the meeting point is at a monastery. Meanwhile, Lockjaw's soldiers find Sergio's dojo, where a photo of Charlene hangs on the wall. They quickly deploy troops, but their path is blocked by a crowd of protesters that suddenly appears. This is what Sergio had called ahead to organize. However, Lockjaw has a solution. Soon, a masked soldier pretending to be a protester picks up a Molotov cocktail and throws it directly at the suppression troops. This gives the troops a legitimate reason to crack down. Several tear gas canisters lead the way, followed closely by a large group of shield-bearing soldiers. After breaking through the barrier, the soldiers quickly find Sergio's shop. They knock on the door, and seeing the staff member turn and run, they immediately realize that something is definitely wrong inside. They drive up an armored vehicle and use chains to pull the locked gates right open. An armed squad rushes in with weapons drawn. By the time they storm upstairs, Sergio has already received the news. He returns to the bedroom and hands a weapon to Bob, telling him to follow the skateboard boys across the roof, while he himself will evacuate through a secret passage. Bob followed the young skaters across the rooftop, but being older, he struggled to keep up. Seeing these young men leap over the obstacles with ease, he forced himself to speed up, but ended up losing his footing and falling to the floor below. He stumbles forward, but just as he rounds the corner, he is hit by a police taser and passes out on the spot. Soon, Sergio receives the news that Bob fell from the roof and has been taken away by the police. On the other side, Danvers obtained her phone number from Charlene's classmate and tracked the signal heading south on Highway 135. Lockjaw immediately drives there. Charlene and Deandra finally arrive at the monastery. For a long time, Bob has told Charlene that her mother, Perfidia, was a hero of the organization who was ultimately killed by Captain Lockjaw. So when Charlene arrives at the monastery, she feels pride in her mother and hopes she can contribute to the organization just like her, but she fails to notice the fleeting look of complexity on Deandra's face. However, later during a chat with Deandra, Charlene makes an active inquiry and only then learns that her mother was actually a traitor. Meanwhile, the Christmas Adventurers Club convenes an emergency meeting. They have received some disturbing intelligence that Captain Lockjaw might be the father of a mixed-race daughter. After a series of investigations, they found Lockjaw's secret files and uncovered the fact that he secretly dispatched Avanti to find Charlene. They also discovered that the operation in Backtan Cross, which was publicly described as a crackdown on illegal substances, was actually Lockjaw eliminating his own potential threat. The club will absolutely not tolerate anyone deceiving them. They sent an assassin named Tim to uncover the truth and quietly eliminate Lockjaw. Locked in the police station, Bob acts crazy and plays dumb. When others ask for his name, he says he is called Parker.
Peter Parker, man.
Peter Parker.
When asked for his date of birth, he rolls on the ground throwing a tantrum, claiming he aches all over. The police have no choice but to take him to the infirmary. The doctor in the infirmary suddenly whispers his real name. Bob reacts immediately and follows the doctor's guidance to get an injection. A nurse walked in, opened the restroom door for Bob, and leaned close to whisper for him to go through the door, walk forward, turn right down the hallway, and enter the fire escape. Just like that, Bob escapes the hospital. Waiting for him in the car outside is Sergio, and Bob rushes forward to give him a big hug. The two even excitedly take a selfie. The next stop is the monastery. Unfortunately, Lockjaw is a step ahead. He tracked the phone clues to a nearby gas station and learned Charlene's whereabouts from the clerk. At this moment, Charlene is chatting with Deandra when Deandra suddenly hears movement outside. Just as she walks out, a squad of soldiers rushes into the room and immediately subdues Charlene. Charlene is taken to the lobby, and the others are also brought under control. Lockjaw tells her to step closer, and Charlene shows no fear at all, walking straight forward. Lockjaw stares at the girl before him for a moment, then opens the black suitcase. He puts on black gloves, takes out a medical swab, collects an oral sample from Charlene and places it in the solution. Then he collected his own sample. Charlene watches helplessly as Lockjaw places both samples together into the testing device inside the black box. He activates the device, shakes it thoroughly, and performs a few more operations. Lockjaw coldly tells her that if the monitor does not match, she can leave safely. But if a straight line appears on it, not even God can save her. The result shows a clear horizontal line on the screen. Charlene is Lockjaw's biological daughter. Lockjaw grabs his gear without looking back and walks out. Charlene sat there, frozen in disbelief. On the other side, Bob and Sergio are driving toward the monastery. Bob mutters to himself, saying he always thought it would be Perfidia coming back to see their daughter, to comb her hair and be a good mother. Just as he reaches the sad part of his speech, sirens sound behind them. Sergio takes a deep breath and tells Bob it is time to part ways. He should jump out of the car at the gas station ahead. The rest of the journey is up to him. So Bob climbs out the window to wait for the right moment. But the car was going too fast, and he could not bring himself to jump. Until Sergio makes the decision.
Go for it!
Bob is flung out hard. The police cars scream past, failing to notice Bob crawling on the ground. He hurriedly gathers his things, finds an unlocked car, hotwires it, and starts the engine. Just like that, Bob drives a stolen car and embarks on the road to find his daughter. For many years, although he has been overprotective of his daughter, that is simply his state of life, and no one can change his deep love for her. So even if there are thousands of troops ahead, Bob is fearless. He soon arrives at the outer wall of the monastery. Getting out of the car to look from a distance, he already sees soldiers appearing. At this time, Lockjaw has also made up his mind that even if Charlene is his biological daughter, she cannot block his ambition to join the Christmas Adventurers Club. Bob found a favorable position and set up his sniper rifle. He sees a black sedan drive to the monastery entrance and two people walk out, one of whom is Charlene. Lockjaw stuffs Charlene directly into the passenger seat. Bob holds his breath and aims at the car. When Lockjaw gets close, Bob decisively pulls the trigger. Unfortunately, his marksmanship is a bit off, and his position is exposed. Lockjaw starts the car and leaves quickly with Charlene. Multiple bullets fly toward Bob and he has to take cover temporarily. Watching the car drive away, Bob crawls away from the vantage point, climbs over the fence, and drives in mad pursuit. Lockjaw's black sedan speeds along the winding mountain road, keeping the speed at the absolute limit. Bob's sedan, however, looks much more battered. Soon Lockjaw drives deep into the mountains, where a white sedan is parked at the foot of a not very high hill. Bounty hunter Avanti is waiting right there. The two exchange a few pleasantries after meeting. Lockjaw gets straight to the point, stating he needs him to take care of someone. Avanti shakes his head, indicating that he has principles and does not kill the elderly or children. Even if Lockjaw offers double the pay, it is no go. Lockjaw can only compromise, asking Avanti to just take the girl to a certain cabin. He drags Charlene out roughly, forces her into Avanti's back seat, and then leaves without looking back. Charlene shouts from the back seat, asking where he is taking her. Avanti glances at her through the rearview mirror and asks if anyone will come looking for her, but gets no useful information. Meanwhile, Bob drives to a fork in the road, looking at the sign and cursing loudly. Looking left and right, he finally sees two people by the roadside, so he politely asks in Spanish if they have seen a black car pass by. The man wearing a hat points in a direction. After thanking them, Bob quickly drives toward the road on the right. At this time, Deandra is arrested by the police. Sergio is also pulled over, and he cooperates fully with the investigation. When the police ask why he did not stop, he says he had a little beer and did not pay attention to the sirens. The matter is reasonably explained away just like that. Bob continues driving and searching, but he cannot find the black sedan anywhere, though he does encounter a white car coming from the opposite direction on the road. He absolutely would not imagine that Charlene is right inside that car. Even though he stares at the rearview mirror again and again with various doubts in his heart, he ultimately continues driving forward. He and Charlene pass each other just like that. Bob continues his search and finally sees a black sedan at the end of the road. Extremely anxious, he slams the accelerator to the floor. Lockjaw is driving quietly, completely unaware that danger is approaching. A blue sedan speeds up to drive alongside the black car and the window rolls down.
Hey, what?
Lockjaw's car loses control, flipping directly into a deep ditch by the roadside and rolling several times before stopping. The blue sedan turns around, and a man gets out to check. That is none other than the hitman Tim sent by the Christmas Adventurers Club. Seeing the disastrous state of the crash, Lockjaw surely cannot survive, so Tim drives away satisfied. Meanwhile, Bob also drives into the vicinity and passes the blue car. Looking at that car, an ominous feeling wells up in his heart. Sure enough, not far ahead, he sees white smoke rising from the roadside. He hurriedly gets out of the car and rushes to the wrecked vehicle with his weapon. Inside is only the motionless lockjaw. The signal device in his hand gets no reaction, and Bob shouts the code he shares with Charlene, but gets no response. On the other side, Avanti arrives at the destination in the white car and delivers Charlene to the bench at the cabin's entrance. He hands the key to the guard and prepares to leave. Back in the car, Avanti's mind is in turmoil. He looks at the girl in the distance through the window, observes the surroundings and the guard deployment, and his eyes suddenly turn sharp. He picks up his shotgun, gets out of the car, snatches back the key without saying a word, and unlocks Charlene's handcuffs. Just as the guard behind him is about to ask, Avanti shoots him down with a single shot. Subsequently, he fires continuously into the cabin. Charlene ran desperately while continuous gunshots echoed behind her. Although the handcuffs are open, her hands are still bound by zip ties. She hides behind the car, adjusts her hand position, and climbs into the driver's seat, only to find there is no key. The surroundings fall silent. Charlene thinks for a moment, then summons the courage to go to the cabin to check the situation. She grabs a pistol from the car and advances while staying alert. Only upon getting closer does she discover that Avanti has already fallen to the ground, and the scene is too ghastly to look at. She finds the car keys in his pocket, starts the car, and leaves quickly. But at this moment, she cannot calm down at all. Driving on the empty highway, she has no direction, feeling that perhaps only by driving forward can she survive. She observes the road ahead while checking the rearview mirror from time to time. Suddenly, Charlene spots a car appearing in the distance behind her. That is Tim. He has a keen sense of smell. Seeing the car, he accelerates immediately, needing to confirm the driver inside to feel at ease. Alarm bells ring loudly in Charlene's heart. Watching the car getting closer behind her, she feels she cannot leave things to chance. Driving on the undulating road, Charlene decides to strike first to gain the upper hand, and behind the blue car, another vehicle appears. It is none other than Bob. He realized from the accident just now that there is something wrong with this blue car. No matter what the problem is, he must see the other person's face first. The car rushes down a steep slope, and ahead lies an uphill section. Charlene decides that ahead is the perfect opportunity. She drives to the top of the slope, hits the brakes quickly, pushes open the door, and runs toward the dirt embankment on the side. After lying down, she holds her weapon and waits quietly. The blue car also reaches the uphill section. Tim is blinded by the glaring sunlight, and the very next second, the accident happens. From her position, Charlene witnesses the crash and immediately turns her gun to aim at the blue car. Seeing the driver stumble out, she shouts the code phrase. Tim cannot answer but gets closer and closer.
At Hooterville Junction!
I don't know.
Charlene fires decisively. Seeing Tim reach for his pistol, she fires 3 more shots in succession, finishing Tim off completely. A few seconds later, the sound of another car approaching is heard. Charlene's heart tenses up again. Bob braked hard at the roadside and saw something was wrong ahead, so he raised his weapon cautiously. Meanwhile, the signal device in his hand flashes and beeps continuously, indicating Charlene is likely nearby. Looking at the body on the ground, he determines the attacker's position is on the dirt embankment nearby. As he moves slowly, Charlene also sees that man, but having gone through so many twists and turns, she fails to recognize him. However, Bob recognizes his daughter at a glance, smiles, lowers his weapon, and calls her name. Charlene, however, shouts the code phrase. When she shouts it a second time, Bob hurriedly interrupts her loudly.
It's your dad. Will no longer be so goddamn relevant. Look at me.
Only then does Charlene relax, running over to hug Bob tightly. They get in the car and leave the scene quickly. Holding her father, Charlene finally sets her mind at rest, and her emotions can no longer be held back. Just then, another figure appears on the highway. Lockjaw did not die. He toughly left the accident scene and returned to the unit. The scene shifts to the Christmas Adventurers Club. Facing questions from the executives about romance,
Gentlemen, I have engaged the enemy face to face in battle and in the dark alleys and shadows of espionage. I was once in reverse.
In reverse?
Lockjaw gives a bold answer, claiming she was a thief who coveted his superior genes and sexually assaulted him while he was unconscious. Surprisingly, after discussion, the executives announce that he has passed the interview. They lead Lockjaw to his new office, telling him that it has the best view in the city, and ask him to sit down and wait while they go to retrieve some documents. Lockjaw walks in excitedly, looking forward to a bright future. Suddenly he felt strange, slumped into the chair, and quickly faded into unconsciousness. Two men in hazmat suits walk over, carry Lockjaw out of the office, and stuff him directly into an incinerator. This club absolutely does not tolerate even the slightest impurity. On the other side, after experiencing this ordeal, Bob decides not to overly restrict his daughter anymore. He hands a letter left by Perfidia to Charlene. Charlene reads her mother's apology letter, in which Perfidia promises to reunite with the family. Shortly after, with Bob's blessing, Charlene sets off for Oakland to begin the same resistance activities as her mother.